The beauty of art is all around us, and even when things look scattered, there is some element of beauty in it, and it takes the artist to find it. Welcome to Art House. I'm Achebe.
There is nowhere you don't have drums in Africa. There was a saying in Umafia that as a man danced, so the drums were beating for him.
And we'll begin with this one that has to do with a song we heard way back growing up. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Now that was a TV show that many of us enjoyed. But this exhibition is a tribute to that novel by Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart.
It's been 60 years since the book Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe emerged. It's been made into a television show in the 80s. It's also been performed on stage by thespians.
Well, we felt this is not just the kill and eat kind of exhibition. We wanted people to appreciate what we have done, to key into it, and to also see how it can create some insight into the novel for the benefit of students of literature and other lovers of literature who may have read the novel.
And now, at least 14 visual artists pay homage to the book Things Fall Apart for its continued relevance and the depth of the late author.
Very strong impression, very good impression. The variety of them, the scope, the concept, and the diversity in the mediums that they've applied. All collectively are very, very impressive.
Very detailed work, very innovative and unique. Good composition. It discusses the timelessness of Chinua Achebe's work on Things Fall Apart, and also brings to the fore our reaction to what Chinua Achebe was trying to portray in his book vis-a-vis contemporary issues today.
It's an exhibition titled And the Center Refuses to Hold. It showcases work in various media that addresses some of the social realities that resonate with its central theme in post-colonial Africa.
My works in this exhibition are titled Things That Tear Us Apart, The Arrival, Mandela's Sermon. Records have shown that colonialism penetrated African soil as far back as the 15th century for the purpose of economic expansion and evangelism. Chinua Achebe, in his novel Things Fall Apart, captured this in where he says, the white man is truly clever. He came quietly and peaceable with his religion. We were amused by his foolishness and allowed him to stay. And he put a knife to the things that held us together. And now we are falling apart. So my works are attempts at the construction of Western austerity and a construction of African opinion, revering social, cultural ideas and philosophies.
The curators describe it as a celebration of post-coloniality in Africa, with Things Fall Apart as a centralizing spin-off.
Well, it's one of those books that don't die, and Achebe is one of those artists, one of those writers that will always live forever in the sense of creative immortality. It's just like when you talk about Shakespeare. Shakespeare died about 200 years ago, but the novels are still read today. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens with Achebe and Things Fall Apart, because I think that through his work, the quality of his work, the depth, the creativity, everything, he has been able to achieve creative immortality. So the issues are relevant. The issues in the novel are relevant, and they'll continue to reverberate in our lives, in our environment, and they'll continue to be very germane sets of resource for artists in these parts and elsewhere.
The works have been very, very interesting, very illuminating. It's like taking a walk into Things Fall Apart, seeing different artists interpreting the period, the struggle between colonialism and between the traditional Igbo culture, where some were resisting the change, where some were ready to embrace the new life of the colonialists. Very colorful display in different media formats.
Things Fall Apart is centered on the cultural conflicts that developed in the course of the colonial projects in Africa, ridden with violence, corruption, war, hunger, religious intolerance, and largely travestied democracies.
From this painting now, this is what actually translates from the book, The Things Fall Apart. Let's say now, like, if I have to use Achebe and Okonkwo as a reference, Achebe was somebody that was enforced into Okonkwo's household. And then Okonkwo tried to see if he can manage him. There was love for him and all that, but he still had that his personality, which he couldn't hold back. And that was what led him to do what he had to do with Achebe. And those are the challenges that we see ourselves. There are lots of conflicts, and then there are resolutions too, when you have to talk about living together as a country.
The drawings, paintings in various media and technique, sculptures, installations and mixed media reflects the artist's diverse background and experience.
This work came out of my engagement with the work, Things Fall Apart. The two works here are titled The Beginning of a Great Narrative 1 and Beginning of a Great Narrative 2. Basically, what I've done in two of them is to use the very first sentence of the novel, which says Okonkwo was well known throughout the 9 villages and even beyond. And I used it and I repeated it here on the upper part and here on the lower part. And here I use the traditional uli wall painting to give a context in which the novel unfolded, which is the Igbo culture. And I have a photograph of Chinua Achebe, an image of Chinua Achebe painted at that age at which he wrote it as a young man. So basically, I'm interested in text as a critical content in my expression. So for some time now, I've focused so much on the use of text in my work. And it also includes images and other things to form the composition. So this is a further exploration of the use of text and images and shapes and prompts to create a composition.
The theme of the work is movements, half-truths, and the ends of the earth. It is my own viewpoint on the story of migration. And in simple terms, what I'm trying to say is that migration from Africa, some parts of Asia and Americas, to the global north is not always a story of desperate journeys, as has been propagated over the years. Yes, those stories are valid, but there are other alternate realities to the migration story. So that's why I tried to show you a lot of slides, movements around my work, and I try to put the one in the middle in color, which tries to reflect the ugly parts of what migrants put out there, you know, when they travel. So the story, what I'm trying to say is that it's not only those ugly stories, that should be propagated. Yes, they are valid, they should be spoken about, but the good ones should also follow suit or be spoken about in tandem with the same kind of propensity that they are propagating the other one all over the world.
Nostalgic feelings evoked by these creations.
I'm so worried about our value system, and that is what inspired me to work on this. You know, Unoka was Okonkwo's father, a great flutist, and he was still termed a loafer and things fall apart because he was not rich, he was not wealthy, and then strong. So I'm using it to say that you must not be rich financially to be great. You can still be great without being rich financially, because that is really affecting our value system. This has made a lot of people now to try to make money by all means. And funny enough, when you make that money by all means, you'll be celebrated. And it's really, really, really doing us very bad.
The exhibition, through 5 cities, is supported by Alliance Francaise and Radio Nigeria, Enugu.
These are the images you sent in this week. The power of imagination is Ezekiel Dancock's waterfall spray painting. Oladele Oluwatosin has a young hood, is a charcoal and graphite on paper work of art. Survival is an acrylic on canvas piece done by Oluwatosin Oshifeso. Between the scars and bruises is how Christian Atalisin is interpreting this piece with pastel and charcoal on paper. Dream Reaper, it's a pencil work done by Obonaya Victor Chibuko. Chidima Ikegwonu has Beautiful Waste, which is a mixed media piece. Finally is this work of art called Midday, done by Atobajaye Olusheyi, an oil painting on canvas piece done with a palette knife. And those are the works of art you sent in this week. We encourage you always to keep them coming, put your best foot forward and the right information beside that work of art.